I'm excited that in the wintertime that I can get local organic food from you. I mean, this is, at a time where like I wouldn't be able to garden myself.
Right.
And I don't want to be getting everything sent in from California.
Right.
I could still go eat. Even you come down to my farmer's market in my town, I can get this produce from you because you're growing it in these greenhouses here.
But we like being able to provide stuff for people such as yourselves, and we've kind of grown along with that. People's interest has the more people have become interested in the locality or the localness and the seasonality, but it takes a certain kind of discipline and a certain level of awareness for a customer to relate to that, and to be willing to go to the effort it takes to come to a farmer's market in winter and eat a lot of root crops, and with a smattering of greens. So that's, people want to be juicing things 12 months a year, but
that's
in November, December, January, there's not that much that that affordably you can juice.
I've used my greens in the winter for salads, and I put a lot of it in green smoothies. Juicing, there's not enough.
Right.
So let's see. What about water? Like when you're watering your plants, do you have some kind of a water system?
Irrigation?
Yeah.
Well, on our main farm, we have 70 acres, and unfortunately, in the last 4 or 5 years, we haven't had a water room because we've been flooded twice, and then this year, it's like I'm living in the tropics. We haven't had the big, destructive rain, but we've had a lot of heavy rains. So, but we're set up for overhead irrigation. The soil that we're on is high in organic matter, so it doesn't need to be irrigated that much, which is fortunate. And we've found that once a crop is up, like if we are in a drought time, we only irrigate till the crop comes up, and then we stop irrigating, because once it establishes itself, we feel it's able to grow at its own pace since we have a high organic matter. With the amount of the soil that's, in the amount of water that's in the soil. One thing with an organic farm, and our biggest problem, it's not one of our biggest problems isn't the insect or the diseases, whatnot. It's the weeds. If you have a healthy soil, everything wants to grow there. And so the weeds that we're using as a plow down to enrich the soil, at one point in time, they're often competitive with the things they're trying to grow. So as I said to you before, we try to keep it clean initially, so that until the planted crop can keep pace with the natural crop, the weeds. So we've found that I lost my train of thought. So we found that the irrigation it helps the weeds grow as much as it helps the plants grow. So we try not to over irrigate.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one more question that I have is about your wild edibles.
Right.
I am so thrilled that I'm getting nettles and lamb's quarter, which are such powerhouses of nutrients.
Right.
And so you're getting all of this on this property?
Well,
you're wild foraging.
Right. We're foraging in several different places, but it's the same thing too. If the soil, if you have diverse nutrients in the soil, everything wants to grow there, including these wild edibles. And you're right. All those things are off the chart in nutrition relative to anything we're growing as a row crop. I've seen the breakdown. People do analysis of the lamb's quarter as opposed to we call that wild spinach, as opposed to regular spinach, and it doesn't even compare. You'd have to eat a truckload of domestic spinach in order to compare.
Exactly. My daughter, who does a lot of wild foraging out in Colorado, told me that just one leaf of wild dandelion has more nutrition than an entire bunch of cultivated kale.
I can imagine. Yeah. I'm quite sure. And wild dandelion is one of the things we sell a lot of.
Yes, I just got a bunch.
Right. So, and it tastes good too.
It's delicious.
And I always say, I remember as a kid driving around with my family, and always seeing these old ladies with the kerchiefs on, you know, picking stuff on the side of the road and going, what the hell are they doing? You know? And now I know.
They had the right idea.
Now I know, because my son has, and my sons, when they were growing up and taking the school bus home, one of their friends would say, hey, I think I saw your dad and a bunch of guys on the side of the road. You know, what were they doing out there in the woods, you know? And we were picking something that
Getting
we knew
nutrient-dense food.
There you go, right.
Yeah. And so my last question to you is, the way that you work in your farming community here is that you have what's called a CSA, Community Supported Agriculture.
Right. Community Supported Agriculture.
And so we will give you a certain amount of money at the beginning of the season.
Right.
And then you use that to buy your seeds. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, well, ours
how that works?
A traditional CSA is exactly what you said. A group of people get together and then they pay up front, and then the farmer delivers a box of goods to them weekly for X amount of weeks. And we do have several of them that we do in Westchester County. But our CSA here at the farm and at the market in Ramsey, where you go, is a little different in that it's like rolling admissions. You know, basically you're putting the money up front. We're giving you 10% on your money, and then you just spend it down. It's like a debit card, and you can choose what you want. A traditional CSA, the farmer chooses. Like we pick out, well, we have a lot of this, a lot of that. This is ready, that's not ready, and then we put that in the box and we drop it off to you. But the one we do at the farm, you don't have to come every week. You can spend it all in a day, take a lifetime.
And that's convenient for most people.
Right, and it's a little more friendly in some ways. Some people just don't want a whole lot of turnips, But,
exactly.
But it still gives us money up front, which is a good thing. I mean, every farmer has to go in debt in the spring in order to, buy their seeds, buy the fuel, pay their help. Because even people like us who are farming 12 months a year, I mean, there's a big gap between, getting any decent amount of money in. There's a lot of dry time there. And so the CSA, it does that. It gives you money up front and also kind of gives you a little more committed clientele.
Right.
So if someone says, well, I gave them the money already, so I need this or that. Instead of going to ShopRite, I'll go to the farmer's market instead. So it's a good thing for us, and kind of creates a little bit of a team approach, somewhat. We want people to feel that they're, part of what we're doing. I mean, without the customer, we'd be well fed, but we'd be living in tents.
Right. I think it definitely does bring the customer in as really like a member of your community.
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Great.
I'm
like
glad
you pay like $500, definitely. And I mean, I've been coming here for so many years. I just love this place. So $500 for the season, and you're giving the farmer the money initially, and you get $50 on that added on.
Right. We're also going to get 10% for your money, right?
Great. Yeah, and the one thing also that I see is like, when you go even to the health food store, like you get like this little thing of lettuce, and you come here and you get this lush, sometimes 2 or even 3 of those in the same bag.
Right.
So it's even more cost effective.
Yeah. Well, when we got a lot, we give a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When something's in season and we got a bumper crop of it,
Right. In the winter, a little bit less, but in the
we got a lot, we
season,
give a lot.
it's definitely. Thank you.
Right,
well, thank you so much for your service.
For your support and your great work.
Yeah, thank you. We're so lucky to have farmers like this. Green and lush.